Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be with you today. Who has learned something about the future over the last 3 days? Fantastic. Most of you. Who feels actually they're future ready and prepared for whatever is coming next? Let me get you future ready. In the next 30 minutes, I want to train your minds to invent your future. And I know that sounds big and ambitious, but I trust that I can give you a future mind state that allows you not just to navigate the future, but to invent a better future for you and for everyone. So how are we going to do that? We're going to focus on our own mind state, our own way of thinking, not just about the current moment, but about the future. And to get started, we need to actually start envisioning better futures. How do we actually want to live in the future? So let me actually do a quick 30-second meditation with you, which allows you to envision your own future. I want you to scoot forward a little bit on your chairs, both feet on the ground, and I want you to put both hands in your lap, and I want you to start breathing together with me. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. With the next breath, I want you to actually close your eyes for a moment. Trust me on that. Continue breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just settle your attention on your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. Now I want you to envision a frame in front of you. And in that frame, there's you, just 5 years from now. Envision how you are in this future. Are you kind, helpful, optimistic, courageous and confident? Just trying to picture yourself 5 years from now. Who are you surrounded by? What are you doing? And as that picture gets a little bit more clear, try to see that radiant frame around it and how it's amplified by your vision of the future. Taking one more breath in and breathing out through your mouth, opening your eyes again, inviting you to just take a look left and right and seeing the amazing people you're going to embark with on that future vision. So thanks for joining me on this quick visualization exercise, trying to envision your own future just for 30 seconds. Research actually shows that if we're going to do that every morning, the chances are increasing that you actually move towards that future that you just envisioned. How cool is that? But if you still believe that we can't change our minds, let me ask you that question. What do you see with those 4 equations here on this slide? Who spots it first? Raise your hand. Yes. The third one, exactly. And everybody in this room probably spots that there is a mistake in these 4 equations. You're absolutely right. The 2 plus 4 doesn't equal 7. But have you asked yourself, why are we actually just spotting the mistake and not seeing that these 3 equations are correct? Actually, 75% is right. That's how we view the world based on our negativity bias that's built into us. We view every situation first as something negative. We're spotting the mistake. What's wrong here? But we can change that. We can look at the world more optimistically because we can choose if we want to be part of the group on the left that sees the glass half full, or if we want to be part of that group on the right that always sees the glass half empty. It's our choice how we view the world. The glass is the same. So let me actually go a little step further, and I want to invite you to grab actually the Post-it note you find on your lap. And I want to show you that we have the power to frame what we see right in front of us. I'm going to probably give you a scenario on how you're going to use that Post-it note as you've never used it before. Probably everyone here in this room noted many ideas on Post-it notes in the past. In the future, I want you to use Post-it notes in a different way. And let me show you how. First, I want you to fold it in half. Then I want you to fold it again. And the double overlapping corner, I want you to just rip that out so that you get your individual frame. Should be a simple task, but it's going to be very powerful. If you don't have a Post-it note, you can just use your fingers and create your own frame as well. So now we're going to have multiple frames in this room, and every frame looks different. That's how we all view the world, through this little frame. And one of the things our brain tells us most of the time in situations is just do nothing. That's what our brain tells us because it's the safest thing to do, especially if we want to innovate. Or even worse, our brain tells us it's impossible. That idea I just heard or that I came up with, it's impossible to do. But let me show you how you can actually frame it differently. If you want to hold that frame right up with your arm extended, and I want you to look at this slide through that frame. And I want you to zoom out by putting it closer to your eye. And now you see something different, which is just do it. Nothing is impossible. You just change your own frame. Yes, thanks for changing that. You just change your own frame and how you view the world. From your brain telling you, just do nothing, stay back, don't engage. Or even worse, it is impossible. You now have the power to frame it as just do it. Nothing is impossible. Frame your mind to shape your future. That was the first part of having a future mind state, which is thinking more optimistically. And you have the power now with your frame to do that. I invite you to just maybe put it on your phone, on your computer, on your desk. Put it in your car, wherever you need it, to be reminded that you can change your frame every time by zooming in, zooming out, or turn it around. Another dimension I want to explore with you is about curiosity. That innate quality that we all have and we all grew up with. As children, we ask about 160 questions per day. As adults, the courageous one amongst us, probably 6. So we lose our curiosity over the time. But we can bring it back by starting to ask bigger and better questions. Because the wildest questions create the biggest opportunities. So let me share a couple of questions before I turn it over to you to practice asking questions too. Some of the questions that inspire me start with what if? And they allow me to look optimistically into the future. What if we can start a rocket and land that rocket safely on the planet to refuel in 24 hours to make space travel accessible and available to everyone? That's a powerful question SpaceX is exploring at the moment, launching and landing rockets nearly every day. What if we can accelerate the transition to sustainable energy? That's Tesla with their mission to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. What if everyone has access to clean water? Some amongst us are actually exploring exactly that mission quite successfully here in Guatemala. What if we can stop polluting our planet with Impossible Meats and Beyond Meat? We have 2 startups that are now trying to give you a meat experience that is plant-based. What if we can actually help students to create missions instead of majors? At Stanford University, we try to look into that at the moment to help students declare missions instead of majors. What if we can actually live a zero-waste lifestyle? A friend of mine living outside of San Francisco, she and her family of 4, they produce waste that fits into a jar that size every single year. So a zero-waste lifestyle is actually possible. I could go on and on and on about those questions that inspire me. One thing you probably noted is it's a question, not an answer. And I want to invite you to also ask a big, bold question. So let's pull out our phones for a moment. And if you want to, everyone pull out your phone. If you doesn't have it, pull out your laptop or tablet, whatever device, your smartwatch. And I want you to compose an email. Subject, what if? I'll do the same. Trust me, it's going to be exciting. And now I'm going to give you 30 seconds to frame that email asking a what if question that inspires you, your team, or your organization. So start that question with what if. If you lack inspiration about what that question could be, just look left and right. And maybe copy that question from your partner sitting next to you. It's totally okay. So now the more important question is, who do we send this to? I suggest maybe send it to your boss, send it to a family member, a team member, someone who you want to inspire. But take a little risk. And in 3, 2, 1, I want you to hit that send button. And what you just accomplished now is you showed an open mind state by asking a big, bold question and not keeping that question for yourself, but sharing that question with someone else you want to inspire. Openness is critical. Not just being open to new ideas, that we all are, but open to new questions that we all want to learn about. But let me tell you one thing. Most of you will receive an answer that starts with yes, but. Questioning your question, that your question is probably not bold enough, it's not something we want to work on, it's too expensive, it's impossible, and we shouldn't do anything. If you change one response in your answer from yes, but to yes, and, you can create magic. Because now you start actually to be involved in this idea, helping to make this question or this idea a reality. It's just one word from yes, but to yes, and that can create that magic. And watch yourself this evening, how often we use the buts instead of the ands. And some of you might ask, specifically if you're a leader in an organization, I can't say yes to every idea or every question. We don't have the budget, resources, people to work on all of those ideas that sound interesting in the first place. Yes, you have. You have something very powerful in your back pocket. First, it's the frame. Remember? We can look at every idea instead of saying, don't do it, it's impossible. Let's engage. Let's try to do that. That frame you have in your hand. But what's more important is you also have that ticket you can give to someone in your team saying, hey, this sounds like a great idea. Why don't you start experimenting, trying it out? Build a small prototype. Go for 30 days and then show me what you've learned. Experimentation helps us to try the future out today. Understanding what works and what doesn't work. And we all can experiment, but we rarely do. We mostly play it safe. Why should we actually take that new path to work if we can go the old path and we know it's going to lead us to where we want to go? How often do we actually choose a new restaurant we want to go to instead of going to the old one we know what we can expect? Experimentation is hard because it involves taking a risk. But again, we can do it. Some time ago, I was on a ship called the Entrepreneurship, teaching students from Stanford and from Chile about prototyping and experimentation. And I saw something interesting. I saw penguins on an ice shelf. And I saw one penguin jumping first into the water, while the rest of the colony was standing back, watching very carefully if that little penguin comes back up again. That courageous penguin had a 50% chance to find food or become food. And in every organization, we have those courageous penguins that always jump into the cold water first, trying out a new approach, a new product, or a new process. But they don't do it because they like it. It's actually quite hard for them. What we as leaders can do is recognize and reward those people who jump into the water first. That's why I introduced the Penguin Award at Google, handing out a little penguin on a weekly basis to the person who takes a risk, who tries something new because they want to learn. That person is becoming the most important employee in every organization because they're learning the most. They know exactly how the future looks like by jumping into the water first. So think about, who is the penguin in your team and how can you make them stand out the next time they're taking a risk? The last dimension of a future mind state is about empathy. Research shows that empathy makes you not just a better human being, it makes you a better manager, a better leader, a better parent, a better teacher, a better politician. You're actually a better person if you show more empathy. Putting yourself into someone else's shoes to see their problems from their perspective. A while ago at Google, with the accessibility team, we tried to understand how blind and deaf people navigate technology. And we came up with a solution that we are now all using with our Google Assistants or our Alexas or our Siris, ambient computing, where we can actually speak to computers instead of needing to type into those. That solution was based on empathy, trying to understand people who can't see or can't hear. And we all can show a little bit more empathy in this world. The next time you speak to someone, try to show empathy by starting to listen first instead of speaking first. And I'm going to promise you, you're going to listen to something very interesting. If you're not starting your brain to instantly respond to whatever is coming your way, but letting that person speak and you trying to empathize with that person first. We now explored 5 dimensions of a future mind state. First, optimism. Using your frame in every situation. Next time, if you're stuck in traffic, and I'm going to promise you that's going to happen probably starting tomorrow, don't get frustrated or even angry. Use your little frame, look at that situation as an opportunity that you now have 1.5 hours to learn something new, listening to a podcast or trying to do a quick meditation or whatever you want to do in that 1.5 hours. You have a frame on how to view the world, and it's your choice. Secondly, curiosity. Asking those bigger, better questions. Those questions that started with what if. And you hopefully have already an answer in your inbox from that person that you inspired by asking that question. Openness. Sharing those questions and ideas with each other, like we did here during the last 3 days. Being open to new approaches and new ideas allows you to also learn something new. Experimentation. Trying a small little experiment that helps you to learn and increase your rate of learning, while also recognizing and rewarding other people for their courage to jump into the water first. And last, empathy. That human superpower that puts you always in a better position because you can actually shift your perspective to see something new. With those 5 dimensions of a future mindset that we now practice and trained, I guarantee that you're now future ready. And whatever you learned about technology and about the future in the last 3 days, we now understand that technology brings us into the future, but our mind state decides how that future looks like. And let me try one last experiment. If you want to stand up for one moment, and if you feel a little bit more future ready, first, write me an email with iamfuture-ready.me, and I'm going to give you a very personal frame that you can actually use in whatever situation you want to use. Second, if you now feel like these 5 dimensions have helped you now in the last 30 minutes to be more future ready, use those this evening and moving forward in your life and live a future ready lifestyle. And last, I want to put it to the test. If you feel you're future ready, I'm going to count down back from 3, and I want you to throw your arms in the air, and I want you to yell as loud as you can, future ready. 3, 2, 1, future ready! Thank you very much and see you in the future.